Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Chris here. So today I was thinking I would take a look at some of my favorite plugins. You know, with Black Friday around the corner, I figured might as well give everyone a couple of ideas on what they can spend their money on. Let's go. Alright, so to get us started, I'm going handheld on the mic today. The stand was bugging me, so I thought I'm going to change it up. Plus, I don't need two hands for this video, so we're all good. But to get us started, I thought I would quickly let you know that basically how I wanted to run through this video is that I've got an affordable, pro, and a premium kind of tier for each plugin. The affordable doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad plugin, it just means it's a cheaper option. Usually it's actually one of my go-tos, so keep that in mind. So to start us off, I've just got my list here. I've got reverb and delay, right? So our time-based effects. So if we start with reverb, I've just got them all opened up here. Let me just get my headphones on real quick. Okay, so the first plugin on my list in the affordable section is the Valhalla Vintage Verb. You can see it here. It's a widely used plugin. Honestly, it sounds great on just about everything. Let me give it a quick listen so you can hear what it sounds like.
All the love that I gave to you and you gave to me is fading now. All the love that I gave to you and you gave to me is fading now.
So you can hear there, lovely dark reverb kind of sits out of the way of your vocal, just really creates a space without taking up too much room in the mix. So that's the first plugin. So the second plugin I've got is a fairly new one by Universal Audio. This is what I would consider would go in the pro department. It's this new chamber, the Hitsville chamber. And honestly, it just sounds amazing. It's doing a specific job, which is the sound of a chamber, but absolutely smashing it. I've got this sample of some people, like a gospel choir, singing, and just listen to what this plugin does as I turn it up. Ooh, so you see there, it's adding a room, but it's not like this kind of obscurely large room. It's fairly like, you know, it sounds like a chamber. It sounds like an actual room. And obviously I've got a couple of options of microphones, mic distance, and speakers, and all this good stuff. Loads of option to change it up, you know, using reverb in a similar but unfamiliar way. So you've got that. So and then lastly would be Seventh Heaven. Now this obviously has got plenty of reverbs. You could probably use this one to replace both of the ones I've just shown you, but this is why I would put this in the premium section, because obviously it comes at a higher price. It's about 260 quid, but does loads of things. This reverb in particular is actually based off the Bricasti M1, which is a well-known studio bit of hardware reverb. Very expensive, very premium, but you know, you've got options like this, which is a bit more affordable, gives you all of those reverb impulses and all that stuff. Sounds fantastic. Let's give it a listen. So lastly, I actually tend to use this plugin in particular for the non-linear algorithm. You don't tend to see it too often, and it has quite a unique sound. So you see, you basically get the vibe of putting the sound in a room, but it, again, doesn't sound like necessarily a reverb. It's just ambience. It's just giving it a bit of depth. So that's reverb. Next, we've got delay. So starting us off in the affordable section is again Valhalla. Absolutely slaying it with their affordable prices and super high quality plugins. This is again a very common plugin that I would pick up simply because it's low processing power, does an amazing job as a delay, you know, has all the things I would need, as well as a couple different options, which always makes it quite interesting. You know, you got this past, present, future, presets, all that good stuff. Let's give it a listen. Sick. Plenty of delay options. Sweet plugin. Check it out. All right, so next we've got the Universal Audio Korg STD3000. This, again, based off a hardware delay unit. Very kind of specific. Obviously, it won't have your regular features to your normal delay plugins. But again, does a fantastic job. I tend to use this primarily on guitar because I think it just sounds really nice on guitar for some reason. It's a digital-based plugin. I mean, they're all digital-based plugins, but the hardware was a digital-based delay. So let's give this a listen and see what it sounds like. There you have it. Lovely. And so lastly, on the premium section, we've got the Sound Toys Echo Boy. Now this is a plugin, again, very universally known. Everyone uses this plugin. It does all the jobs, does all the things you need it to, as well as has all of your different styles and sounds. So if you're feeling uninspired for your delay sounds, you've got plenty to pick from. Let's give this a quick listen. Sweet. No fancy bells and whistles, just does everything you need it to do. Obviously, at a more premium price, this is, what did I write? 200 quid. Yeah, plugins get expensive when you add them all up. But again, if you only need one of these, then pick one of them. Because the only reason you need more of them is if you get caught in the... Again, another one of a premium plugin, hence why it sits in the premium section, but fantastic nonetheless. Time for distortion! Distortion! Alright, so as always, we'll get some drums up for this section. If you haven't already seen the video where I destroyed the drums with distortion, you can go check it out up there. So let's go. The first plugin on the list is Saturn. Now this is a plugin by FabFilter. Fantastic company. Again, I would just recommend getting all of their stuff because it's awesome. So this is kind of like a multi-band distortion thing where you can distort, right, your normal signal, but instead of just distorting the whole signal, you can actually pick bands and distort specific frequencies. So if I get it up here real quick. So this is the plugin. I'm gonna play a drum loop and you can get an idea of what it does. Fantastic, some nice warm tape saturation going on. But you know what, if that kick is doing too much of the distorting, I can just add a band, pull out the distortion in that low end, and then way cleaner, way more control, you know, as opposed to this. Woo! So that's one. Saturn. Awesome thing. Again, just quickly, it's got loads of different distortion types, so you'll be left for options for days. Next, Decapitator. Sound Toys, killing the game as always. This one, again, super common plugin in my arsenal. I would use this on virtually everything. Vocals, drums, guitars, you name it. It lives there. Does specific, you know, has a specific sound. Unlike Saturn, it's focusing on the whole sound as opposed to individual sections of it. But you got this nice little filter and you got a little punish thing that like adds 20 dB of gain or something. Fun little plugin as well as all of these styles. So let's give it a quick listen. And punish. Woo! you get it. Great fun. Everyone loves distorted drums. It just adds so much hype to the sound. So now, lastly, on the premium side, we've got Black Box. I've spoken about this plugin before. Quite unique in the sense it's working with your pentode and your triode, which is your even and odd harmonics. It's got all of this parallel saturation thing with a parallel kind of EQ for that saturation. Again, watch my video about distorting drums because I go deep into this, but let's just give it a listen and see what it does to the sound. Parallel. Oh. Super exciting. Again, quite specific. I would probably more likely use this plugin on like the mix bus or something, the whole song, as opposed to an individual layer. But again, another fancy plugin you can check out. All right, EQ. Not very exciting, but I figured I'd talk about it because some people might want to know. First on the list, on the affordable side, is Pro Q3 Fab Filter. Again, I would say this is probably the most popular used EQ in the game right now. It's just super convenient, works really well. Obviously, your default would look like this. The beauty of it is you just click, you add your bands or whatever. You can use your mouse wheel to change the cue. If you double click, you get all of these shortcuts. You know, you can add your shelves. It's all very intuitive, very fun. It's got this automatic gain adjust. So it kind of, you know, every time you're changing the EQ, it tries to keep the volume roughly the same as opposed to like you taking out a massive chunk and it just gets quieter. It's a smart plugin. Definitely on the list. I use this all the time. You should too. Nothing more to say. All right, next in the Pro section, we've got the Universal Audio Pultec, the EQP1A. This is based on a hardware unit again. Very simple. It's just bass and treble in simple forms, but it's a tube EQ, so when you put it on, it adds a little bit of something, a little bit of magic. Sounds fantastic. Again, I would probably use this on like the whole song, maybe a vocal, maybe a bass, you know, something where you're really just aiming at either the real lows or the real highs. Sick plugin. And then lastly, on the EQ side, we've got this SSL EQ. Now, there are plenty of plugins like this to pick from. I just happen to use the Plugin Alliance one because it's my favorite. It's got this TMT thing where basically it's got like 50 or 60 different virtual channels set up that are harmonically different. So if you're using this plugin across your mix session or your song, and you give this random channel all button a flick, it will change all of your plugins' virtual channel per se. So they'll all have this kind of slight harmonic difference between them. Bit techie, but sounds cool. Obviously, this is an EQ. You've got your EQ, you've got your two bands, and then your low shelf and your high shelf. Real simple. You got a filter, a couple of filters. But in this case, you also have some compression, a gate, and that's about it. Some phase flip, some extra couple of things that, you know, extra utilities. But besides the main point, it's 3-in-1. You know, you got all of your processing in one plugin. So that's really convenient. I do tend to use all of these in conjunction. You know, so I might start with Pro Q, then chuck on a Pultec if I want some silky top end. Use this for some more precise kind of EQ sculpting, as well as a little bit of compression on the top. That's how I tend to go about it. All right, so just a quick camera battery change later, and we are on to the rest of the list. So now we've got the fun section. These are just some plugins that I couldn't really categorize because they do crazy stuff, but I really enjoy using them. So first on the list, affordable section, we've got Sketch Cassette, the cheapest plugin on the list, 30 quid. And this is an awesome plugin. I'll show you right here. Fantastic. Look at how fun this plugin looks. I'm just going to play this audio and have a quick little fiddle, and you can get an idea of what this is doing. I'll start with it off, actually. As you can tell, a bunch of crazy stuff, mainly some wow and flutter and some warbly goodness, and just making the sound just hella lo-fi. Sounds great. So that's our affordable. On to the pro. We've got, oh my god, it's already kicking off. It's already kicking off. We've got the Arturia EFX Fragments. Now, this is a new plugin I've just acquired. Still kind of getting used to what it does. It's kind of like this granular goodness. God knows. But let's give it a listen and you tell me. And there you go. So that's Fragments. Fragments is a pretty crazy, it's a pretty crazy tool. Like I said, still trying to get into it, but I've just discovered using it on vocals, and that can be quite interesting. So definitely want to check out. So lastly, the premium section of fun. We've got Portal. If you've seen any of my live streams where I'm making beats, I tend to use this quite a lot. I just find it's one of those tools that, again, if you just need like some inspiration, something that, I want a new section, but I kind of want to use a similar sound that I've already used, you can just chuck this on top of said sound. And honestly, what it can do can really bring some new spice to your song. Let's see what it does. So as you can tell, lots of chaos, but sounds amazing. All right, next on the list, we've got pitch, right? Now, I would probably have picked out something like Autotune or whatever, but again, I felt it would be best to show off the plugins that I really pick out the most and use. So in this case, I've got first up on the affordable section, Little Altar Boy. About 100 quid for this bad boy. Obviously, bear in mind, in terms of all of these plugins, whatever price I've said now will be different for Black Friday, most likely. You're going to have to check, but just to be certain, you could probably get a nice little deal on these. So Little Altar Boy, this I mainly use on vocals, quite specific. It's like a vocal form and pitch thing, but it sounds great if you just want to achieve that like modern low formant sound, such as this. You get the sound. So the beauty with this plugin is there's obviously a couple of ways you can use it. You can change the pitch, you can change the format, you can add drive. That's also quite a nice touch as well, as just giving a bit of drive to your like low pitched vocals. But it also has this quantize and robot mode, which are kind of slightly different tuning methods. Robot in particular just keeps it to one note, which is really cool if you want to add that type of harmony where like a harmony is just singing like the root of your song. You can just chuck it on robot and that's like a nice sound. You get the idea. So just real quick, that's Little Altar Boy. Next, we've got Sound Shifter. Now, actually, before I show you Sound Shifter, I just want to quickly show you the difference in why one might be used over the other. So Little Altar Boy, I'm just quickly going to pitch this vocal up and down so you can hear what it's doing. So you can hear at -12, it tends to sound a bit, glitchy, a bit kind of chopped up, maybe not as clean as you would like it to sound. This is where something like Waves Sound Shifter would come in. Now, this plugin is basically like the pro pitch shifting device, I would say. Listen to how cleaner it sounds pushing it down an octave. Again, got a couple different modes if you want to try on different types of audio, but at the end of the day, just sounds the cleanest to do this specific job. Very processor intensive. If you put this on a track and you try to record with it, probably get a lot of latency. So this is maybe something you want to save for heavier jobs, like if you had to repitch the whole song or something. This would do quite a good job on that. You know, again, you could use it on anything. No rules to this. I'm just saying how I tend to use it. And now lastly, the premium. We got Antares Harmony Engine. Now I was kind of torn between whether to choose this one or Autotune. And I use Autotune probably way more than I use this, frankly. But again, Autotune is a very specific tool to simply tune vocals. I just wanted to show off something that maybe gives me a bit more inspiration. So I would use something like this Harmony Engine. I've set the key up here and it kind of does what it says on the tin. It adds harmony. Now that's cool. So I don't really tend to use it like that. How I would use it is that you can change this to be your MIDI channels or whatever. You can create the chords via MIDI. So say someone was singing into it, I would play the harmony chords underneath and it sounds fantastic. So if you want a quick example of this, a little plug, you can check out the album I produced for Sam Christie. What is it? 11, 10, 17. And the song is called Kill Me Now or Kamen. Very lovely, very exciting. But towards the end of the song, there's like a saxophone just ripping away. Mr. James Cummings, fantastic sax player. And I have layered the harmony engine underneath his sax. So he's riffing away and then there's like fat sax harmony chords underneath. Crazy. So that's pitch. Now for the final category of this video, the guitar section. Now for this, I'm actually gonna have to get the guitar, so bear with. Alas, we had to bring the stand back, but we've got the guitar. Now let me set up a channel. So we've got the guitar. This is our nice DI sound. Alright, so let's get us started. On the affordable section, I've got Stark. This is probably my favorite guitar amp plugin by a company called Clevgrand. I don't have too many of their plugins, but this is one of them. Let's turn it on. Sounds alright. Let me quickly, the presets I really like to use. If you go on the overdrive, you've got the American and the British. They sound quite good. The American. Awesome. But yeah, just a quick little look through. This is quite a nice little plugin. You've got your kind of guitar amp models. You've got some cabs down at the bottom with a little stereo mono thing. A nice little room. Sounds awesome. And then your presets, a little bit of boost and EQ. Very straightforward plugin, but really does the job. Oh, as well as you got your effect pedals, can't forget those. It's just a great little, guitar amp plugin. Got everything in one. Can't beat it. And 80 quid. Steal. All right, next, the Waves guitar kind of bundle. Now, I only bought this bundle because of the Stomp pedal thing, which is a plugin that comes as part of it, and it's basically just a bunch of different stomps, different pedals. I don't know why they're all the same pedals. There we go. We'll change up the presets, but you can see now obviously I'm missing one major part of this, which is the fact that you're meant to have an amp go through it, or at least the pedals go into an amp. So let me just chuck this behind Stark and actually give Stark a normal preset. Sick. And now, let's have a play with these pedals. Jeez! Sick. That's stomp. Now quickly, last but not least, before my light dies on me, as you can tell by how dark it's gotten in here, we've got guitar rig. Yeah! Now bear in mind, this is guitar rig 5. They have 6. I don't have 6, but I have 5. So if you have 6, enjoy it. Because we're not all that fortunate. Guitar rig is pretty much the staple of kind of plug-in guitar amps, I would say. It's been around for ages, hence why they're on 6. It's got a great combination of amps, cabs, effects, you know, dynamics, anything guitar related, even pitch shifting, all of this stuff. And bear in mind, you don't have to use it on guitar. That's the secret they don't tell you, is you don't have to use it on guitar. Fantastic plugin nonetheless. I tend to get this out every now and then. I'm more finding myself use Stark, but equally great plugin nonetheless. And actually there's one preset which I want to see if I can find before I finish this video. Okay, I found it. There's this great preset, which I doubt is the preset for the song, but it's equally fun to play nonetheless. That's the vibe. You get it. But really cool plugin. All these plugins are really cool. You don't have to take any of my advice, by the way. This is just fun. You know what? Do this. Oh my god, everything's dying. Everything's going. Batteries are killing all over the place. So I'm going to quickly finish this up before my camera dies one more time. But basically, thank you guys for hanging around. Again, this is just my opinion on plugins I really like. Plugins I think you should check out if you haven't already. If there was something you feel I should have mentioned but I didn't, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I'm sure I would love to see it, as well as the other people watching. So let us know if there's anything that you'd like us to mention for next time. Alright, I managed to get a little bit of juice in my lights. So again, if there's anything you'd like us to mention for next time, please leave it in the comment section below. I'd really appreciate that. Once again, I've been Chris Vella, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye!